Love to death is a phrase that captures both the intensity and the paradox of human affection. It reflects the idea that love, when carried to its deepest extremes, can blur the line between life-giving devotion and potentially destructive obsession. At its core, it conveys how the strongest form of attachment can inspire extraordinary care and loyalty, while at the same time suggesting a consuming quality that overwhelms reason. The phrase draws attention to the power of love, not only to enrich life, but also to dominate it. In literature and history, love to death often appears in stories of star-crossed lovers who would rather perish than live apart. Romeo and Juliet, for example, embody this notion when their love leads them to tragic ends. Their devotion is portrayed as so absolute that the thought of living without the other becomes unbearable. This romanticized version of love has echoed across centuries, reinforcing the idea that the ultimate test of devotion is the willingness to risk or even sacrifice life itself for love's sake. Psychologically, the phrase may also be understood as a reflection of how human attachment operates. When bonds become extremely strong, they can alter one's sense of identity and decision-making. A person who loves to death may disregard personal safety, social norms, or even rationality in order to protect, possess, or remain united with the beloved. Such intensity can lead to acts of great bravery and sacrifice, but it can also foster jealousy, dependency, or destructive behavior. Thus, the phrase is both aspirational and cautionary. Culturally, love to death can take on different meanings depending on context. In some traditions, it symbolizes fidelity and eternal union, even beyond the grave. Couples are idealized for their unbreakable commitment, and death itself is not considered a barrier to love. In other contexts, it is used more colloquially to describe simply loving someone deeply, such as parents saying they love their children to death. The expression, therefore, carries both symbolic weight and everyday resonance. From a philosophical perspective, the phrase also raises questions about the limits of love. Should love be boundless, extending to the point of self-destruction? Or should true love involve balance, care, and preservation of both oneself and the other? These reflections invite us to think about love, not only as an emotion, but also as an ethical choice. Loving to death can be interpreted as the purest form of devotion, yet it also risks eclipsing the value of life and autonomy. In modern usage, the phrase often softens into a hyperbolic expression of affection. When someone says, "I love my friend to death," they may not mean it literally, but rather as a way to stress their closeness and loyalty. The dramatic undertones of the expression remain, but in casual speech, it functions as an emphatic metaphor rather than a literal commitment. Nevertheless, its emotional depth continues to resonate, hinting at the intensity love can carry. In conclusion, love to death is a phrase that captures the most passionate extremes of human affection. It embodies both the noblest sacrifices and the potential perils of obsession. It reflects cultural ideals, literary archetypes, and psychological truths about attachment. Whether used literally in tales of tragic devotion or figuratively in daily life, the expression remains a reminder of love's power to inspire, transform, and sometimes overwhelm. Ultimately, it invites us to ponder how far love should go, and what it truly means to cherish another with our whole being.